Hi guys, and happy weekend. So I hope that everybody had a great week this last week. It was good. The energy was good all the way up till Thursday. It's like a repeat of the last week. Maybe Thursday is the day that I reach a wall and I'm like, I don't want to do anything, right? But the energy is starting to pick up. We know that the new moon is going to be happening next week, but Mercury will be trining into Mars on Monday, August 17th. And even though it's the day before the new moon, Mercury and Mars are both fire signs, and the style of communication will be very quick-witted and very sharp. So next week, do not be surprised if you find yourself that you actually let someone have a piece of your mind, especially if you've been keeping things within you. So, sometimes it happens, and let it happen, right? As long as there's respect, I feel that we should not be keeping things on the inside, especially with that Pluto still being in retrograde and bringing these repressed emotions to the surface. So in Hair Talk, as you can see, it will be 5 months since I started letting my hair grow from completely shaved off. It will be 5 months on September 1st. I did find myself a tiny little hair straightener by Beachhead, I think it is, or Bedhead. And it's just saved my life. Like, I am loving it. So I have baby bangs now. And, just trying to just go with the flow of it at this point. And basically that's all for the Hair Talk. Let's go ahead and lower our camera and take a look at the energy for next week. So basically the decks that I have here, I've used this week on Instagram. We have the Crow Tarot. We have this guy right here, which I cannot remember the name. And then we also have the Queen of the Moon Oracle. So what I'm doing today is interesting because what I want to do is take a card out of each deck and put them together and see what the energy for this coming week is. Now, because we're doing a collective reading, remember to take what speaks to you and leave what doesn't. Not every card has to speak to you. Let's say that you're watching this later on, it's still going to speak to you. So don't feel like if you find this reading 2 months later that it's no longer valid. I always say that we find this when we need it the most. So let's go ahead and so we start with the Page of Wands. And it's followed by the Promise Seeker. And let's see here. And it's followed by the Waxing Crescent, which is the Path. So let's go ahead and zoom in and really take a look at what we're seeing. So the first card that we have is the Page of Wands. So when this particular energy comes through, basically what we're seeing with this is kind of talking about bringing these ideas. You are at a good point where your energy is starting to lift. So let's say that we've been going through it, a lot of anxiety, a lot of overthinking, but the energy will feel more like a maiden, more youthful coming next week. That may have a lot to do with that new moon that's going to happen. So basically what this is about is bringing your creative flow into the table, but also tuning into your free-spirited ways, right? So there's a lot of times that you tend to dim your energy, maybe to not be seen, or maybe for acceptance, but this is going to be a week that you really want to tune into your very unique ways of being. Also going within the Page of Wands, it's all about your energy and how you use it and where you put it. So this is going to be a great week for you to really think about, where am I putting my energy, or who am I giving my energy with to that's not worth it, right? You definitely want to reclaim your power, and you definitely want to keep an eye places or people that you may be giving energy to, and they may be taking it for granted, because it's kind of time to to call that power back to you, right? Now, The next card that we have is the Promise Keeper. Now, the Promise Keeper, it's all about working with our trust, with our honor, and our safety, right? So this has a lot to do with all of those times that maybe we've promised something to ourselves, and we're all guilty about this. I do this all the time. Maybe we have too much on the table, or maybe we just get excited about something. And, in our excitement, we make plans with someone, and 2 hours later, our energy changes, and then we're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go. I don't want to see anybody, right? So what happens here is, when we break a promise to ourselves, we lose trust in who we are, right? And to lose trust in ourselves is to lose, almost like to lose identity. So today and definitely next week, really work on making a promise to yourself and keep it. Whether it's something small, let's say you want to build more of that trust. A lot of times we don't realize that our self-esteem comes with the trust that we have for ourselves. So a lot of times when our self-esteem is suffering, we go and start working with the root chakra, and we start, doing meditations and wearing red and working with red jasper. But what we don't realize, if we are not really going to the root of it, especially if my self-confidence comes from me not trusting myself or me not believing in my gifts, and I'm not really focusing on that what am I doing? Next week, to really build that self-esteem, especially if you've been going through it. We're all going through so many ups and downs that I wouldn't be surprised if we're all like, oh my gosh, I'm done, right? So what do? Make a super small promise to yourself. Something simple, something that you can actually keep, and let's say it's okay, I'm going to drink 2 glasses of water a day because you don't drink water. Start there, right? Or just say, I'm going to promise this week I'm going to use 1 affirmation in front of the mirror. Start there. Do something small, and I promise you're going to start feeling that self-esteem getting stronger. Working with our self-esteem goes beyond just working with the root chakra. It goes beyond just carrying certain crystals. Of course, that all helps, but we really got to get down and dirty with it, right? We really have to see where is it coming from. Especially, I understand this card because, the older that I got, especially through my 20s, I would make so many promises to myself, and I didn't really mean to break them. It's just life went another way, and then eventually you hit that brick wall and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am anymore, or I don't know if I have what it takes. And a lot of times it comes from little things like this. Now, let's take a look at the next card. Now, the next card that we see here for next week is that energy of the path. And I really, really love that we got a journey card in, especially after this Great Lion's Gate. So basically knowing that right now, you're probably going through a shift. So you're shifting. We just had the Lion's Gate. We're going to be feeling that new moon energy, right? So just understand that the way is actually open for you, right? So your path is actually illuminated because you yourself are the light in your darkness, right? So what we're seeing here is beginning the journey now. You don't have to know where you're going. You don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to know what the outcome is going to be. Those are all expectations and they kind of ruin the journey. Just begin where you are, right? Respond and just take action. Kind of fight through those brick walls that we hit, when we're like, oh, I just don't want to, just fight through it. Just say, okay, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to fucking do it. Just with that energy of fighting through it, you just have to be courageous and move forward. And with this energy, I love that we see courage here because courage is something that we never give ourselves credit for. It's almost like we see other people and then the idea of them and we're like, wow, you're so courageous or this and that, and I really, really love the energy for next week because we're being guided to let our free spirit take charge, right? To be really careful with who and what we give our energy to, right? To work with ourselves, with our self-esteem. But I love how it's presenting us in a very simple way of how to work with our self-esteem. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times when I have students or clients, and when I was younger, I would see, how do I work with my self-esteem? And it was just so hard, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming that you're just like, I'm not even gonna read this book because I'm done, right? So I love how we're being guided to work with that self-esteem little by little. So I hope that you guys have an amazing, amazing week. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you guys want to schedule your readings or get your candles or all the thousands of things that we have in my little shop, make sure that you check out www.lightwitchtarotshop.com. And I will see you guys again next weekend. So lots of love and light to you all. I love you, and blessed be. Bye-bye.